So, talking about verticals now. So, where would that fit best? So, retail that I mentioned, distributed enterprise. So, imagine the retail, you have multiple stores and they have access, they have the point of sales equipment, printers. So, all of that, you can easily use the switch to interconnect them. And also with the FortiGate as the security point. No? Education. So small schools that need UTM protection, right? Web filtering for the internet access. So you have to also interconnect multiple devices there. You can also apply the switch in the solution. Hospitality. So we are talking here about the secure access solution, right? We have the integrated Wi-Fi and the infrastructure that are really very attractive solutions for hospitality. We were talking just now in the coffee, right, about hotel deployments. That nowadays good hotels that want to have high quality Wi-Fi, it's not an internet port that you have in the room, it's an IP. So each hotel room has an IP. So imagine that for a big hotel, then you need a lot of ports, and you don't want to do that with PoE injectors, right? So you just connect them to the switch, you have the PoE and you have the network access. Right, so healthcare, so hospitals, we can also apply that same architecture, so of secure access and protection against so segmentation of the network, because parts of the network, you need to allow the guests, of course, to access the network, but also the hospital equipment that is very sensitive to any access, right? It has to be very well protected. So in the outdoor, with the utilities or archaeological sites, for example, in Italy we had a project like that. So people go visit an ancient place, and then yeah, you want to have Wi-Fi there also. So the switches are there to give power to the APs and have all the network access. Okay. So looking at the SMB in more detail, what are the objectives there? So simplify the solution, right? Have a trusted vendor. It makes things a lot easier. So you, as a trusted vendor, you can offer the solution that is already complete. You don't have to buy one thing from another vendor or the other, or look for different ways to control it. It's simple. You just have the package that includes the security, the access, the wireless access. So, and with Fortinet, right, as very trusted vendor for security. Now that's so the complete solution. Yeah, I was just talking about that. So single vendor, also in the support side, right? When you have an issue, you don't have to call multiple people. You just call one line, and you can have the issue resolved. Right. And compliance. So if we're talking about business that depends on the network, you have compliance needs, and also we can meet those needs. If you think about the integrated wireless deployment, so we have the FortiGate as the controller for the APs and for the switches, right? That's what you have there. And now, if we talk about secure access, right? It's another fancy slide from marketing, but you see here that we want to give seamless experience to the user, right? Even if it's plugged in or via there. So that's what you see there. Besides the seamless experience, also the management unified, which makes the solution control and maintenance a lot easier and more cost effective, right? So simplify the network, simplify the security. If we look at the retail, there is another thing that is important, which is deployment in high scale. So standardization of the stores. So let's say you have 300 stores. It's very important there to have to be cost effective, to be able to deploy it easy, and also with low cost, right? And so if you think of a store solution like this, right? Multiple products that can be easily controlled from a single point, and controlled also from the data center or for the central management. It can be via the cloud or with the secure IPsec tunnel to your data center or network control. This success story that it's a slide I stole from marketing also, about a customer that we have worldwide. Probably you have jeans from this vendor, so you probably know what I'm talking about. Meraki was the competitor, and Fortinet really could offer the best solution. So solution that is scalable, that can be deployed easily. So you see here that you have a package, FortiGate, FortiSwitch, FortiAP in each store. And the data center, FortiManager, FortiAnalyzer. So you can, from the FortiManager, FortiGate, sorry, can establish IPsec tunnel to the FortiManager, and then FortiManager can easily push the configuration to all the devices. So the AP and the switch, right? And the FortiGate, of course. Why did they want this solution? Because it's the user experience, right? When you go in the store, you want to buy jeans, then you just don't, you need the help from the attendant. So the attendant can easily carry an iPad everywhere and then help you do the sale. So more interactive selling, easy, you don't have to run back to the counter to do the purchase. So just with the customer directly do the transaction to help improve the user experience, right? So how do we make that all possible with FortiLink? Who has heard of FortiLink before? Yes, great. You guys were here last year also, no? Yeah. So FortiLink is how we control the switches from the FortiGate. It's the solution that is going to make all this possible. So basically here you see secure access management. You have an idea of the FortiGate GUI showing you the switches that are controlled. So not only this, like I said, not only the switch itself, but you will be able to provision all the features there. We'll see that in detail. So I'm going to move a bit faster now. In the demo, I'm going to show that to you. So advantage here, right? When we deploy a VLAN, you have to do multiple steps if the switches are not controlled by the FortiGate. You have to log into that switch and then do the operation, then configure the same on the FortiGate. But the advantage here is that you just do it on the FortiGate. Just you have VLAN, you apply to the ports. So you choose the ports you want, and that's it. That's it. So I'll show you in the demo. But so how do we do that? It's very easy to control the switch. Just configure the interface. You say dedicated to FortiSwitch, automatically authorize. Done. Just plug the switch and wait, it will be controlled. Then you can start provisioning the ports with the VLANs that you want. So that's the second step, second slide here. So you create the VLAN, assign to the ports. Once you have a VLAN, you have the layer 3 interface, right? Then you can apply the policies, so all the security that FortiGate has to offer. So this is one VLAN of the FortiSwitch. So you create a policy from Office VLAN to the WAN, and then you know better than me what capabilities of the security in the FortiGate. Right, so not only one switch can be controlled, but we have a stacking model that is also very flexible, right? We can have, like you saw, that FortiGate is the controller of the switches, so it stays there like that. So all the management is on the FortiGate, but then you have multiple ways to connect them, and I'll show that in a minute. So wide range of solutions, because depending on the switches you have and the amount of ports, right, you can go from very small deployment with 8 ports, with the smallest switch, up to thousands of ports, all managed by the same pane of glass, right? So you can have combination of switches with 1 gig, 10 gig, or 40 gig links. So all the switches we have support this model. So you can connect any of them, and it will be fine. But most important is the level of abstraction that we have here. Once you have them connected, you can forget about what's there, the topology. You have your ports. So in the FortiGate, you just have there your list of ports that are part of your security fabric, right? So you just have a security solution there with all the ports. And that's what I have here. So you see that it's a ring of switches, because you see here the inter-switch links. But once you forget about how they are connected, right? Think about, you have this list of ports available to you, just right there in the same screen. So you can select this port, this port, this port, go to VLAN 10. That's it. Okay? So how does it work? FortiGate is controlling, right? Every switch unit, you can see it here separately. And then when you connect the cables, like you connect to the FortiGate, when you connect the cables between the switches, they're also establishing the links automatically. You don't have to set anything. You just plug the cable, they will discover themselves with LLDP. I'll show you that. And then they can start running the control sessions. And then within the topology, we have the MSTP protocol. So to guarantee that there is no loop, and to guarantee that the connections are stable. So benefits there, right? Easy to deploy, because you don't have to configure anything. You just have to really plug the cables, right? And it's a single logical layer. You have the ports there available to you as interfaces on the FortiGate, right? High port density, because you can have thousands of ports. And with device visibility, that's the device detection functionality of FortiGate that's extended also to the switches. So there's the same functionality. All right. So just to quickly mention this, I was already talking about it, but you see the port status. Green means status up, and blue, it's not here, but blue means there is PoE power being provided. We are going to see that with the APs. You see the VLAN configuration, and you can click on the switch, do firmware upgrade. So let's let me spend more time when we are doing the demo. Yeah. So then here is a list of ports. So you can click on the switch, it will open you the switch of port, the list of ports, and then you see the VLANs that are applied, and you see what's connected to it. So here is my client. It will tell you with the device detection what kind of client it is, like you saw in the FortiView for the Security Fabric. So let me spend some time now to show you the topologies that can be made with this solution. So they are all in the administration guide. If you check there, it's also included. So single FortiSwitch, we plug the switch to the FortiGate. You can use interface type aggregate if you want to have more than one link to guarantee more bandwidth or redundancy, right? And then you have your access here, so telephone or different devices, right? That's a simple one. Then we can start stacking. So we can do a simple star. So we can connect all the, let's say you have access switches, then you start plugging them to the main switch, and then they will be all controlled. Okay, so what about FortiGate in HA? We want to have also redundancy there, right? So that's no problem. We can connect also other links to the passive FortiGate, and then it will be controlled the same. FortiGate fails over, then control is this passive becomes active, and it will continue to manage the switches. Then let's say we want to have rings topologies, or we want to have more interconnection with them, right? So we want to have more redundancy. That's also fine. We can have the uplinks to the FortiGate, so with an aggregate interface, and then inter-switch links formed automatically, so you don't have to worry. And it will have redundancy between them. Well, so, okay, can we do that with HA? Yes, we can also do with HA. So just put the passive device there. So we have then failover in the FortiGate level, right? We have FortiLinks failover, so redundancy also here. Redundancy in the Forti switches, in the inter-switch connections. So, excuse me. In all the levels we have protection. Right. So enterprise office closet. I copied this from the documentation because I really want to make sure that this is clear. So we have HA, and we have then switches in layers. So we have distribution and then the access. So this is one type that is recommended, but variations can also exist, so we can discuss, but I'm going to focus on this specific diagram. So we have two distribution switches. They have fully meshed connection with the FortiGate, right? And also between each other, so they can form the inter-switch connections. And then you have access rings. So you see that each ring goes from one distribution, goes around to the other, right? So you do like this, right? So you can do that with only one switch. So then you have a dual homing scenario. So you have one switch connected to one link to each distribution. That's also possible. If you want to close the ring here to have local ring also, it's possible. So that is all going to be automatically set when you plug the cables, okay? So then you just have other rings here, and it depends how many switches you need, right? If you think that each IDF here represents a switch floor, a building floor, or a different building, So that will all depend on the type of deployment. Questions so far?
Does it also work with active-active?
No, with active-active we not support it yet. So that is part of the roadmap for next year. Yeah. So currently FortiGate active-passive. Do you have common active-active projects?
If possible, we'll always make active-active, yes.
Okay. So usually in your deployments you have really active-active FortiGate.
Not usually, but...
Okay, yeah, it's possible. Yeah. No, because I asked the question because most of the times it's active-passive deployments. So from what we see around, that I think 90% is active-passive I mean, checking in general. Yeah. But yeah, it's good to know that you also have that.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
It configures automatically when you plug in the cables. What about spanning tree? Do I have to decide which is my root bridge? Do I have to do this manually? Or
No.
is automatically kind of the firewall active to the FortiGate is root bridge? Or
Yeah.
I have to
So
spanning tree?
yeah, about the spanning tree that is running here, there is no need for settings. So then it will all be done automatically when the switches connected to connect to each other. So the first switch connected to the FortiGate is going to be the root.
The lowest priority.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the others will keep the same default priority, that is the 32,000 something.
Yeah.
But the first one will then reduce it, so it will be the preferred, the root. It will always be like that. So then the others will adapt to that one. Yeah.
And can I decide that kind of access ports are like spanning tree port fast, don't do a check, because normally it has to be active. So if I plug in a cable, it has to check and go through the timers and everything. Can I just take them out of spanning tree?
Yeah. So I think you are talking now about access ports,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. In the access ports, you can configure a spanning tree. Then you can set it to edge port,
Okay.
or you can change the timers, right? But spanning tree, what I'm talking about is a rapid spanning tree. Our implementation is by default multiple spanning tree, which has the same timers as the RSTP, that's the rapid spanning tree. So it's all the latest timers, right, that exist for this protocol. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
So just one more for changing the timers or something. If I do such a change, I do it centrally on the FortiGate and it applies to all switches. Or if I make such a change, I have to change it on the switch?
Yeah, the timers it will be applied to all the switches, but that should be changed in the next year. You should be able to override per switch,
Okay.
but always you deploy from the FortiGate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And which is the key feature? Who enables only with the FortiGate 600 or higher?
Sorry. This just a capacity. It's a matter of capacity. So for when you have a lot of switches, then you should use FortiGate that has enough power to manage them. But and also you want to have one that has comparable bandwidth with the deployment you want to have. So like if it's a deployment this big, probably you want to start with a 600D as the minimum model, but it's not a must. I have a table to show you the maximum maximum number of switches per FortiGate. So that you can use for.
The limit the same like the APs, or is it different?
Yeah, it's a hard limit. So today it's not, but it's 5.4.3 FortiOS. We'll have it as a hard limit. I'll show you. There is a slide in the sequence. Yeah.
And I think that this example starting with the FortiGate 600 is because this is the first model having 10 gig SFP plus. So in enterprise flavor, you will think about a 10 gig backbone at least. That's the reason why they are just telling it's a 600 and higher model.
Yeah, thank you, Victor. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Okay, so you see here that you have an aggregate interface with two members, right? And you have one active link. So these with dashed represent standby. And then we have the inter-switch connections. Here we have two cables, but we could put more. And also here we could use more. So you don't really, it's not limited to one cable, but if you need more bandwidth, you can just add more connections there, more links.
And if this would be one LAN, then the traffic from IDF2 to IDF3 possibly doesn't go over the FortiGate.
No,
It
no.
go on the to the distribution switches.
Yes.
Okay.
So it will be switched layer 2 or intra-VLAN. Then it will go only as a switched flow. So just with the layer 2 switching. Whatever needs to be routed, so inter-VLAN traffic, then it goes to the FortiGate as usually is the gateway. So in this scenario, it is the gateway. But you can also have a gateway somewhere else. So it depends on how the deployment is, okay? All right, let's check other functionality. And then I'm going to not spend much time now because I'll show you when it's really working. So authentication is .1x supported in the solution and a captive portal. So in the FortiGate, you can configure it, create your user groups, or if you have authentication that with FortiAuthenticator, that's all compatible. So dynamic VLAN assignment, that's something I'll talk about. That you need FortiAuthenticator in the solution. That's also fine, right? Then the PoE management, so a bit more detail here. So in each switch, you can see the power budget that's being utilized. So you go to the FortiGate immediately, you get there a bar showing the power that's being used. And if you put the mouse on the port, you are going to see also the power. And you can, from the GUI, you do PoE disable. So if you don't want that port to do PoE, or if you just want to do a quick reset of the device, just to disable and enable again. Monitoring, so we export the syslog to the FortiGate GUI. So you can go easily to the FortiGate and do a filtering. So I'll show you that. So if you have syslog set to send to FortiAnalyzer, it will also send it. So it's all syslog framework. So it's simple, right? Okay. Lag of user ports. So if you think about this is the solution, right? We have FortiGate pair, 2 switches in the distribution, one top of the rack switch that is dual homed, and then we have servers. So you want to have link aggregation, you can connect server to the FortiSwitch access and then create link aggregation there. Spanning tree. So if you have, sorry.
The lag also with multiple access switches?
I was waiting for that question. Yeah. Multi-chassis link aggregation, right?
Yeah, also with AD.
Yeah. So
Two switches on top.
today not. So this is a roadmap item in Q1. So in March with FortiOS 5.6. So that's already committed in the list of items. So it's just a matter of timing. We should have that. So you can configure. So let's say you want to connect the server to two different switches. You can create MLAG between them. and plug the ports. Yeah. Okay. Next, so spanning tree. So if you have a switch here that is not part of the solution, right? Then like another vendor or another access switch, you can also enable spanning tree in the access, like he was asking that. It's also supported. And the loop guard to help also the loop protection to avoid any loops in the access. The HCP snooping is when we want to avoid people to plug the HCP server in the network and everybody can't connect anymore. Had that multiple times. One of them, it was me. So yeah, we can set the port to untrusted, so it will not allow any DHCP offer to be forwarded. It will still do the DHCP request, but no offers. So how do we what are the models now? Let's check support matrix. So practically all the models support this solution. All the FortiGates. Even the virtual machine. So there's barely no restriction there. So if you think of the latest models, they are all here. Right? And even the latest ones, 60E, 61E. And so because the framework has changed in the 5.4.1 FortiOS, 5.4.1 framework has changed. So then it's future-proof. Any new device that comes is going to be, let's say, agnostic to the different hardware architecture, so we are able to always support it. And there's not much delay there. So any new model, you can just assume that the first release will have switch controller functionality also. Okay, so people who were here last year, this table was a lot less. A lot less models, and framework was still the 5.4.0 version that didn't have this new model. And the FortiSwitch side, you have all the models. So all the D models support FortiLink. There is no restriction. Excuse me. So here is the question about how many switches we can support. Today, the hard limit is 64. The recommended limit is 16. You see that in the documentation, because that was the number that was really future-proof, tested by our QA team. But we have projects already that have 30 switches, 40 switches. So we checked the design and say, yes, it's fine, it will work. So today, there are still already deployments with more than 16. So if you have a project today with more than 16 switches, it's no problem. So let's just check with the Fortinet team that the design is good, and it should be okay, right? But in FortiOS 5.4.3 is the next one. We are going to have the hard limits. So 8, 24, and so on. And please remember that this is still release that's not there. So it may change, but unless there is something really unexpected, this will stay as it is, okay? So bigger models up to 256 switches. If you take 256 times 24, you have how many thousands there, right? So it's really can be big deployment also. Okay, let's move on. How is the time? Okay, standalone. We talked about, so until now, how we integrate switching with security, right? But FortiSwitch is also a standalone switch, as by definition it's a switch, right? So we also have standalone switch, and we have a lot of features there, from the basic switching to the access security. So we can do MAC IP binding, dynamic VLAN assignment. So you can really set the port to .1x authentication, or just abiding based on the MAC address or protocol base. You can assign the VLANs like that, or with user authentication. The ACLs are very flexible. You can configure different match conditions. You can police the traffic, redirect it to a different port, apply quality of service queue. So it's very flexible ACL functionality. So you can do mirror destinations, so have private VLAN. We have the MSTP support that I mentioned. So layer 3 is static, and dynamic is coming in the roadmap. I'll show you. S-Flow for monitoring. So if you want to do mirroring, you can do locally. So you configure the mirror, it will just send to a different port. But if you want to do remote mirroring, you can use S-Flow with a sample rate of 1. So it will just send all the packets to a remote destination with the S-Flow protocol, and then you can just check the traffic there. Okay, so you can do also remote monitoring. Virtual wire is to allow you just a pass-through connection in the switch, so it will not do any switching, but just like a link level connection. If you want to just let the switch interconnect to other devices. And the REST API for management. And the REST API is similar to what you see for the JSON API that is used on the FortiGate or FortiADC. The API is very similar, and then you can apply also to the switch. And even the FortiGate itself is sending commands to the switch using the REST API. So when the switch is managed by the FortiGate, FortiGate is also provisioning the switch with this API.
Short question.
Yeah.
You mentioned the layer 3 static routing only in standalone or also in combination with the FortiGate?
Yes.
You said the layer 3 routing will be done on firewall.
Yes.
So it's only possible if it's a standalone switch?
Yes. Yes. So then you should have the layer 3 routing with when it's standalone. If you have deployment with FortiGate, then FortiGate is the layer 3 router, or you have another router. You can depends on the deployment, but layer 3 then is done on the FortiGate. Yeah, because you want to control the access, right? So
well,
when
in some cases it's just a question of how far you go to spread your IP subnets and where you need to control and where you don't need to control them. So
yeah.
a combination might be a useful thing for the future. Just
Yes. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. I understand. Yeah. Good point. Okay. So next, the latest version. So 3.5.1, we have added more functionality to user access control. The enhancements for .1x with including the MAC authentication bypass, also LLDP MED, so you can connect voice over IP phone, get the right VLAN for the voice, and also have data VLAN in the same port and clients on the same port with the .1x authentication. MAC limit for the ports, right? Also some security checks that are done in the chipset, so like a packet with TCP flags, SYN and FIN. So set like anomalies, right? It will check for anomalies in the packets and just drop them without any impact on the system, right? And we have QoS implementation starting the 3.5.1 with the .1p, so you can classify the packets and then put them in the right queues with the total of 8 queues that can be configured. IGMP snooping, so it's a very common feature, right? We need to have that. SNMP and DHCP relay also. DHCP relay, then switch is really doing layer 3 relay to the DHCP server. And on the hardware side, we can now have splitter cables. So that's supported on 500 and 3000 models, 4 times 4 gig split. So for the 40 gigs can be turned into four 10 gig ports. They show up in the GUI or the CLI. They are really different ports. You configure them separate. Okay. So just to show you a use case of the standalone switch. This high-scale web filtering solution. We have FortiGates in transparent mode, and we have one router here, one router there. Right. So what's the idea here? Is to provide very high throughput of web filtering. So this is a project for education. Then all this between here and here is one network segment. So FortiGate is in transparent mode. Switch is also there too, right? And this is a link aggregation and group. Each link is going to a different FortiGate, and then switch has a hashing method, right, to decide which flow goes to each link, so it can load balance traffic there to each of the FortiGates, and then it can scale the solution like to hundreds of gigabits. We have solution today that is running at 70 gig, and then they are going to put more. So just another use case, right? But most common, again, to emphasize, is the FortiGate in HA. Right? FortiGate in HA, you must have a switch. So FortiSwitch is there to interconnect them, right? It can be any deployment, because if FortiGate is in HA, it can be the segmentation firewall, like even a mobile carrier. So in the GI firewall, we have FortiSwitch deployed there also. Yeah, FortiGate 3700 D, I think, and the FortiSwitch 1048D. So to interconnect the cluster of the FortiGate that is doing GI firewall in the mobile network. We have that in Switzerland and also Taiwan and other countries. Okay, what are the switch models that we have? So lineup here is very comprehensive. For those who were here last year, the slide was a lot smaller. So we have now many models with different port numbers, so 8, 24, or 48. Also the rugged models, so FSR is rugged. We have the 112D, and we are going to have also, here, it's the rugged with 24 ports, rugged switch also. And then if you look here, you see many different options of PoE, but important is that FPoE means that all the ports are PoE, and they are all AT, so the PoE plus support that can offer 30 watts of power. And you have also non-PoE models. So depending on the uplinks, and then you can choose the models. So basically this quick summary. So 100 series, you have gigabit uplink, 200 also gigabit uplink, but with 4 ports. Then 400 series, it's a 10 gigabit uplinks, and the 500, you have 10 gigabit plus 40 gig. So you can use those 40 gig as simple switching port. There is no, it's just another port in the switch. So you can use that for stacking them or to have uplinks. It doesn't matter. They are all available like another switch port. Okay.
In the near future, will there be a difference of the features between FortiSwitch 4 and 500 series?
No, we don't plan to have different, because chipset is similar. So it's Broadcom, right? We use chipset from the market. That's Broadcom is one of the best ones, right? And then they are present in all the switches. And oh yeah, that's a good point also to mention, because we have this chipset. You know that is line rate. There is no oversubscription in the ports. So whatever you see there, you have 48 ports, 1 gig. You're gonna have 96 gig of throughput. There is no limitation. Yeah. And then we have also the data center models, right? That are 10 gig, or you have 10 gig with 40 gig uplinks, or you have 40 gig, all of them, all ports, 32 ports, 40 gig. That's the biggest model now, and we are working on 100 gig uplinks. So next year, I don't know exactly yet, but I think around summertime maybe we have the 100 gig uplinks. Yeah. Do you have a need for 100 gig? No, okay. Yeah. In the summer next year, you're gonna need it.
There was some questions about 10 gig via RG45 in the past, because this is a, let's say, cheaper implementation sometimes, and that would be maybe nice if you have also this kind of product on your own.
Yes, yes. We discussed that with product management, and we have to build a different model because these ones cannot be done. So they are considering that for the refresh. So if there is, when there is a refresh of those products, they will look at the market, see if it's if they can produce it. Then if you have the need, we need to take the requests. Then we can put pressure on them. Yes, make it. Okay. Okay, so what else? Lifetime warranty. So all the models you saw is the same. So the lifetime up to hardware support up to 10 years. So it's like 5 years after end of order. So usually the product life is 5 years, but then you have another 5 years that is the end of support. So you can have lifetime guarantee on the hardware. Then for the software, we need the FortiCare contract to do the updates and so on. And then open cases if there are issues, right? And price reduction for those models. So it's a lot less than before. I think it was 20% before. Do you remember, Victor?
I'm not remembering, but I can check it.
Yeah, we can check. But yeah, so that's the product lineup and the warranty. So I think that's enough for slides. Let me switch on the devices. So what we'll do today in the demo, and please, I will have to sit now to operate, but stop me anytime if you have questions or you want to see something in more detail. Okay, first we'll just connect one switch and show you what it is and how you can see in more detail how it's controlled. Then we are going to plug a second switch. You're going to see how they come up in the GUI. So it's really, I don't set anything, I just connect the cable and it will come up. Then we are going to make the enterprise deployment. So to show you that diagram that we talked about, and we can see in more detail also what's happening there. Next, we'll talk about the VLANs, so really deploy the VLANs and how we add security to that, how we see the clients, right, with FortiView. Then monitoring, so I'll show you the syslog, and how we integrate with wireless. So you have the switches there, so you have your ports. How do we plug the APs and how we deploy the VLANs when we have the wireless access there also. Other things about the design, so loop protection. Let's say you want to have FortiSwitch and the FortiGate ports in the same VLAN. How we do that? What other options we can have there? And so this is the demo equipment. So 2 FortiGate 100D and 4 times FortiSwitch 124D PoE. That's the 12 ports are PoE and the other 12 not PoE, right? Because there is the F is not there. Right, let's see how it's doing now. So I'm now on the FortiGate finally. Sorry for making you wait. So we have here version 5.4.2, that's the latest, right? And we have a cluster, so active, passive. I'm now on the FortiGate 100D1. And we go to Wi-Fi and switch controller, a managed switch. And then we should see there the switch now that is on the top here. That is the first one. So when you go to this web page, it will run the check to see that the switch is controlled, and it will then show you that connection is there, right? You see there is one link, and it's going to port 24, and you see that there is like a chain icon, right? If you look here, and then you see also the black circle to show you that's the FortiLink. Now there are no ports connected, but you see I can put the mouse on it, and it will show me what's there, right? Okay. Once the switch is controlled, oh yes, if we go to the interface, what's the interface that I have now? I have interface FortiLink, and that interface is dedicated to FortiSwitch. Okay, so if we open it, you see that it's an aggregate port, and it has 2 ports, 1 and 3, dedicated to FortiSwitch and automatically authorize. So when you do that, you just plug the switch, then you see that all the provisioning of the control is done automatically. It will assign the IP address that you see there. It's assigned by the FortiGate. Then it will create the HCP server, also in the FortiGate for this interface. It will create an NTP server for this interface, so that the switch can get an IP address, then it will get the NTP, so it will get the right time from the FortiGate, and then be able to do a couple-up tunnel with the FortiGate. Like you have for the AP, right? FortiSwitch is using couple-up for the control. So that's why you need the HCP and NTP. So couple-up can be established. Once it's established, then FortiGate will push the configuration to that switch. Okay, so that is all done in the background. What you do here is just do automatically authorize, and then it's done. So you can go to the DHCP monitor, and then you see that your switch is there. So you have This is the switch 522, serial number 522. You see here the IP address 1.2. So if we go back to the list of controlled switches, you see here the serial number, right? But you can also double click and put it a name. So let's say this is going to be switch number 1. And then you see here also that if you need to do maintenance, you can do a restart, you can upgrade the switch software and deauthorize it, like you do for the AP, just the same mechanism. So we give it a name, so the name will show here, right? And then we have the ports. So let's say I want to configure port 7. So I click on port 7, it will open to me the list of ports. We can select here then port 7 and apply the VLAN. So these are VLANs that I already created. So just to quickly show you, so I'm going to apply the VLAN .1x VLAN. So I select it, and then it's there. Let's say I want to do a tagged VLAN. So then I go to allowed VLANs, and then I also apply there, let's say Wi-Fi VLAN 300. Okay. So what about the, so we saw there that we have the IP address of the switch, right? Let me move also the slides here so we can follow the, yeah, this is a slide about retail, because we discussed that in the beginning, and also here to show you the that you have a package. So you can just say, send a package to the store and say, this is your network connectivity. So we have that with a customer in Holland. They send every franchise that is open, they send a package. So this is your FortiGate with the switches, the Forti extender, and then they just deploy that. Okay, so that's what we did, and I showed you we configured the interface, and I mentioned that it will get the HCP, synchronize the time, and create the cap-up tunnel, and then configuration is pushed. So what I didn't mention is that if the switch is in standalone mode, it will detect the FortiGate and then reboot in the FortiLink mode. So the best way to deploy is to put the switch in factory default, because you make sure there is nothing there in the config. So just reset it to factory and connect to the FortiGate. That's it. Then FortiGate will detect it, move it to FortiLink mode, and then it will be managed and easy to configure. With the solid line here, you know that it's controlled, right? But you can also do that in the CLI. So if you go, let's try to connect here to the CLI. Okay. So exec switch controller, get connection status, root. It will tell you which switches you have. So you just do the serial number here. It will show you very detailed here. So you see authorized, version of the switch, IP address, and when it was joined. So it was today at 10:09, so 10 minutes ago. Interface port, so you see here the list. And searching means that PoE is enabled and it's waiting for connection. Not supported, it's clear. But look at this. This is the FortiLink connection, right? You see here that says yes for the FortiLink. So you know which link is used to connect to the FortiGate. If there is stacking, then you're gonna see the yes here. That's the next step of the demo. So here in the back there are questions. So which VLAN ID is used for the default FortiSwitch VLAN. So how do we check that? We go to the VLAN list, and here is the default. So VLAN ID 1. So in the VLAN list, you immediately see there which VLAN ID is used, which ports are assigned to this VLAN. So we go to the FortiSwitch ports, and then we see here which ports are assigned. And let's say I have, I don't know how many switches, right? I can do a search. So if I do a search, it will immediately filter only those that you want. So you have there this. But why did I want to show you this? Because when you plug the switch and it's controlled, immediately all the ports are in the same VLAN. So you can just plug anything you want. It's already going to talk between each other. Then the only thing you have to do is, if you want layer 3, then you have to set the IP address of the VLAN and enable the HCP server if that's required. Okay. So it's really easy deployment. Then we do a packet capture on the FortiLink. So we can do here diagnose sniffer packet FortiLink. Without filters. So we can see what's coming up. So just to give you an idea what's running in the background, we have here the FortiLink packets. So these are used for heartbeat and maintaining the connection with the FortiGate. We have also the DNS. So you see here that the FortiSwitch is trying to resolve the name of the NTP server, probably. And also here we have the CAPWAP tunnel. So this UDP port 5246 is the CAPWAP tunnel. And we should have also there the NTP and the REST API. So if the REST API, we can see also when we do some configuration on the FortiSwitch via the FortiGate, of course, it will push commands using the REST API, and then you see the port HTTP 443, because the REST API is using secure connection with SSL. Okay. Right. Let's go ahead because it's time to take a break. So other questions here. How do we access the switch CLI? So if we somehow need to check the FortiSwitch, so we can do simple SSH to the FortiSwitch IP address that we know from the DHCP monitor, right? So now I'm connected to the FortiSwitch, and you can check there whatever is necessary, right? So I have a question there. Also, which VLAN ID is used for FortiSwitch management? So we can check here. So show switch interface. On the interface FortiLink, it's a native VLAN 4094. So that's the one that's used for the FortiLink communication, and the rest is available for deployment. Okay? All the things here are all deployed automatically. So if this trunk here is set by the FortiSwitch when it discovers so FortiGate and FortiSwitch, when they discover themselves, this will be set automatically. Also this. So you don't really have to worry. It's just to let you know what's under the hood. Okay. So again, how do we check the FortiSwitch is fully managed? So we have in the GUI the solid line, but here this command will tell you really this is when you run the command, it's really checking exact that moment. The GUI is doing constant refresh, but it's not real time like the CLI. So it's just a different way to check. CLI will update, refresh automatically, but it's not going to be immediate like the CLI. So stacking. Now we can talk about how use case for that. That would be SMB or even the enterprise and so on. But this example would be more on the SMB where you have maybe 2 or 3 switches. Then you can just connect one switch to another. So let me put back the GUI here. Excuse me. So I can take a cable and I'm going to connect, let's say, the port 16 here of the existing switch. Then I connect to the port 24 on the new switch. So the one that will join. Why 24? Because when the switch is in factory default, always the last ports are used for FortiLink. You can enable all the ports for FortiLink, but then you have to go to the CLI. So for the zero touch, you just connect to the ports that are already enabled, right? So how do we know the ports that are already enabled? Is by the number of SFPs. So this switch has 2 SFPs. So we know that also the last 2 copper ports are enabled for FortiLink. So I connected to port 24. So you can see there in the screen, it's already updating automatically. So it found out that there is another switch and it's connecting. So it will automatically authorize if that's configured in the interface, which I suppose it is. We can check. So let's check here. Show system interface FortiLink set auto extension device. So you can see also here that the second switch was already discovered. So you see now it's updating. I didn't refresh the page, so it's really doing that periodically, so automatically. And now you see that the link is dashed line because it's still establishing CapWAP. We can check also on the CLI. So this is the other serial number 453. It's not it's authorized, but connection is not up yet. So we can check here when it should take a couple of minutes to establish CapWAP, and then solid line comes up. We can start deploying the VLANs. So let's go while it comes up. So just to show you again the mechanism, in the slide you see the sequence of events. So you plug the second switch, they would talk to each other and establish a trunk. Then the FortiLink packet from the new switch will go to the FortiGate. Then FortiGate will send command to the switch to move to FortiLink mode. Then switch will reboot in FortiLink mode. Then start establishing the connection again with the existing switch, the neighbor. And then it will get the IP address from the FortiGate, synchronize the time, establish CapWAP, and it's done. Right? FortiGate then sends the config, and the switch is managed. That's what you see there now. So you can go to verify on the CLI. We can also do the command. You see also all the ports are there with the IP address and everything. You see now that in this switch, where the stacking is, right? We have stacking on the port 24. Also on the GUI you see that, right? Because you see here the link goes to port 24. And if you want to configure that port, it's not allowed. Right? If you go to port 24, it's a FortiLink port, so you cannot set anything there. It's used for the control, right? There is automatically there a trunk, so all the VLANs will be allowed, because that's what we want, right? But you cannot change that. So here you see that you have now two switches, right? And yeah, you can deploy the VLANs also to this switch. So let's see what else we have here, so we don't spend too much time, because I don't want anyone to fall asleep. So yes.
Can you one more go back to manage FortiSwitch?
Yes.
So the picture of the main switch now disappeared.
Yeah. So this is when the switch has no connections direct to it. It's only FortiLink connections. Then it will be in a compact form to represent distribution. But once it has connections, then it will be full icon. Yeah, it will be fully represented. Yeah.
I was thinking that it's a bug.
Ah, yeah. First impression is yeah, something is wrong. Okay. So the question there is about STP, right? So like I said, the STP was running. I will show you that. So we can do quickly here a custom command on the FortiGate. So I have here already custom command. So custom command is anything you want to execute on the FortiGate via the CLI. Sorry, you execute on the FortiGate, but it will be done on the switch. So it will go to the switch, get the output, and show it here. So the command I have is STP status. So execute switch controller, custom command STP status, and then I choose the switch. So let's check the first one that's directly connected to the FortiGate. It will give the STP instance list. So this, if you see, is a list 0. So for the instance 0. So you see here instance ID 0. And then you have the details, so the priority, this bridge is the root, like he was asking about. This is the first switch, so it is the root. And then you see here that which port is forwarding or discarding, right? If we check now the other instance, so spanning tree has multiple instances, right? So we can check the other instance. Which is 15. So instance 15 is the VLAN 4094 that we were using to control the switch. That we saw that FortiGate is using that, right? So for this instance, you can see all the links that are used, right? You can see which one's forwarding, which one's discarding, right? And you can do that also on the other switch. And it will also show you the links. This switch has only one link, right? The bottom switch has only one cable. So you see there, this is the automatic link created between the two switches. So yeah, just another thing to show you that how it works under the hood. But when you are deploying it or operating, you don't have to look at this. It's all done for you. So it's all we are working in the normal operation is here. We are deploying the VLANs, we are changing IP address or adding a switch or removing a switch. Okay. Okay, so again, the benefits there, right? It's all transparent for the user. Coffee time. So any questions? Please have a look here in this one now. Enterprise deployment. No? So I'm bringing back that same diagram. So I'm just a bit more detail now showing the aggregate. So with two physical members. So one going to each of the switches. And we have this split interface enabled. So what is that? So if you look in the diagram, in here you see one link, right? In the GUI. In the diagram you see two links. You have one link, second link, right? But there you see only one, because the other is down, physically down, with this split interface. Right? So this will become active. If this one goes down, this one will become active. Okay, this how it works today. Next release 5.6 FortiOS, and I'll show in the detail on the roadmap. We should be able to have both links active and more members. So if you want to have two links to each switch, it will also be fine. So just one more detail of the deployment. So inter-switch with multiple links. This one specifically, we didn't put two links, but we can just plug another cable there and it should be fine. So this is the diagram of what we see in the GUI as just an abstraction of your ports, right? You see there how they are connected here in the slide. Okay, so each switch as access is dual homed to the distribution. One link goes to distribution 1, the other link to the distribution 2, so you have redundancy. Okay, so how did I deploy that? So this is the GUI view, we already saw it. So first FortiGate in HA. So first step of the deployment. Then we start connecting the switches. So one switch, then the distribution, then we connect them to the FortiGate, and then one access, then the other access, and you are done, right? But you can also just plug all the cables. That's what I did now. So I just plug them, and the topology is resolved, and in the end you get what you see there. So that's the topology, right? Questions, and how do we check then the topology in the GUI? So here, right, we see the connections. Every link here is an inter-switch connection, right? It will always show you all the inter-switch connections. In the CLI, you can also run a command. So it will show you in the CLI all the connections. Okay, so you can also do that in the CLI if needed. Sorry, maybe I was too fast. Do you want to have a look? Or so? Sorry. Yeah. So you have the ports, port 1, and then this is the name of the link that was created. So you know that this serial number 406 is the other switch. So you see here 406, port 23, and then 453 is the same as here. And then it goes for all the different links. And then you see, like I said, the port 3, you don't see it here because it's physically down from the split interface. So the first link on port 1 coming out of the FortiGate. So you have two FortiGates, one is active, other is passive, right? Connecting to the switch 522 serial number. Okay? Okay, so how do we form the inter-switch links? I said they are done with LLDP, right? And I'll show you now just another under the hood function item. So we are going to connect to one switch. Then here we do show switch physical port. You see that each port has an LLDP profile that is the default auto ISL. So show switch LLDP profile default auto ISL. So it has the auto inter-switch link enabled. If we do a get, I cannot do that. So config. So if we do a get, we see all the settings. So auto inter-switch links is what is going to allow the switches to get to know each other and establish the trunks between them. Okay, that's how it's done, inter-switch connections. You see that there is some customization you could change here, but you don't have to make any changes there. Okay, so let's go now to what's more interesting when we're talking about how we deploy really the services, right? What we did until now was to see the switch, how it's controlled, how it comes up in the FortiGate. But how do we deploy the VLAN? So we select the ports and then assign the VLAN to it. So let's say I want to deploy on port 7. So I do a quick search for port 7. So I have port 7 of all the switches, right? So I can using the control key, I can select all of them and then assign them to the same VLAN. So let's do Wi-Fi VLAN, for example. Yeah, it's already allowed. So we have to choose another one. Okay, so then it's easy. When you want to deploy same VLAN to different ports, you can do a search, or you just select them here. Look, with the control or the shift key, you can just go select the ones you need. Oh, I did the zoom. Sorry. Okay, it's back to the right size. So yeah, then I select a few other ports here. And then I can click in the native VLAN, apply it. Also allowed VLANs, so when I want them to be tagged. Okay? Yeah, so if I go to allowed VLANs, you can select also all VLANs. So if that's, you want to have a trunk going to another switch, for example, you just put all, and all VLANs will be accepted. Okay? So how do we create the VLAN? Right, the VLAN, you can go to FortiSwitch VLAN and do create new. And here you select then the name. So let's say VLAN demo. We select an ID here. So let's say 400. We can change the color to make it easy for identification. If we want to have layer 3, so then we set the IP address. So most of the times you want to set the IP address and the HCP server. So just quickly switch on here and then device detection and just the OK. So this way, if you plug a device to that VLAN, to that switch port, the device will get the IP address from FortiGate. It will send a layer 3 traffic to FortiGate. So then you apply security to that connection, to those connections. And the security mode you can also set. We are going to do a test later on. So let's just check here what we have. Yeah. So let's now connect. I'm going to take. Let's choose the right ports here so we don't lose connectivity. I'm going to choose from the first switch. I'm going to connect to port to my computer to port 11. So I'm going to assign. Where is the first switch? This one. Port 11. So I'm going to assign it to VLAN space 56. Okay, so let's see this VLAN just to be sure we can reach the FortiGate. So it has IP address, the HCP server, also management is enabled, and I have device detection. So let's see what we get from there. I'm going to unplug the cable from the FortiGate and I'll put it here in the port 11 of the first switch. Look, I had some config from last night. Sorry. I can't use port 11. I'll explain that later, but let me take another port. So please remember me to explain it, please. I just don't want to lose the momentum here. So let's deploy the VLAN. So show switch interface port 15. Okay, VLAN 56. Okay. We got it. Right? Okay. So let's connect. So I'm now in the VLAN space 56, and I'm connecting to the FortiGate via that VLAN. So we check monitor. We want to see the client, right? So we have here space 56. It's my computer. Yeah. So let's see if I have internet access. So Google is there. BOLL is there. Fortinet. Who's going to accelerate? Right. So we have internet access. Why do we have internet access? Because I have a policy already. It was already configured. Okay? So what's the policy? Let's check. Any to internet. So I'm saying there, space 56 going to the WAN interface, allow with NAT, so WAN interface connected to internet. Thank you, Victor, for setting that. So we have internet access with this policy. Okay? So if we go back to the FortiSwitch ports. We have here port 15, my device is here, right, with the device detection. So you can easily see where the client is, right? So I had to scroll down to that port. But look, what is your computer name? Ah, okay, Gracioli. It's there. So it's very easy to find devices. Just with a quick finder, quick search, you can get it, right? And Security Fabric. We go to Security Fabric. We see there where the user is connected. So, oh, it's not there. It's connected to the switch. It was just there showing us. We have another, it's updated. So we have another thing to report. But you see now it's there. So it's very, very helpful, right? We are looking at your network in terms of administration, security concerns, right? Where are the users? How much traffic they are generating? So you can use the Security Fabric for that. You know where they are connected. You can easily find the ports and where they are, right? And apply. Security Fabric is evolving. So you're also going to be able to apply actions here. So like put in the quarantine and block the port. These are things that are going to be there also. Okay. Right. So in the slide here it says send traffic inter-VLAN and intra-VLAN. So inter-VLAN traffic goes to the FortiGate, like we saw. We can check here also the sessions, right? You see there that I have sessions because I put session logging. So if you are familiar with FortiView, in the policies you have to enable logging so it can collect that data and show you all the actions, the activity, sorry. And if it's intra-VLAN, so in the same VLAN, let's say there is another host in the same VLAN, then like there was a question, it doesn't go to the FortiGate. It will be switched via the path that is taking based on the topology. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, one question with this client detection. This morning there was a sheet where saying that you can make a VLAN assignment based on IP or MAC address or something. Can I tell now on the FortiGate which client should be in which VLAN and do automatically VLAN assignment?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's the dynamic VLAN assignment is in the standalone device.
Okay.
When we were I mentioned that in the standalone. The dynamic VLAN assignment is going to be in the FortiOS 5.6. So that is end of Q1 next year. So March is the schedule. I think it's 1st of March to have FortiOS 5.6 that will support that. Then we can do all the security profile. We create a security profile and apply it to the port. So we say that that port will be a .1x with MAC authentication bypass with a guest VLAN. That's the security profile. We apply that to the port, and then we use FortiAuthenticator as the authentication server to give you the VLAN ID or other properties like group, user group. If you want to apply user-based policies, then you can also get that. So it's a solution integrated with FortiAuthenticator. So because VLAN ID you cannot assign from the FortiGate, right? You need to use an authentication server for that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the question. Yes, very, very important question. Anything else? No. So if you have questions, just tell me. Okay. What do we do when we have native and VLAN tagged ports, right? That's the use case that we are supporting. That's very common for access. When you have a phone, and the phone is the one providing connection to the computer. So when you are deploying an office, you don't have to put two connectors, two cables from each desk. You just put one cable, and that cable will have phone and data. So you can use then native VLAN for the data, and then a tagged VLAN for the voice. Okay? So that, again, talking about FortiOS 5.6, then we were able to set LLDP profiles from the FortiGate. I showed you LLDP profile for the inter-switch connection, right? On the switch, you can already do that. Also, LLDP profile for the phone VLAN assignment. But when we're talking about controlling from the FortiGate, then we need FortiOS 5.6 to do that. So you can then apply the LLDP profile from the FortiGate. And then phone, when you connect the phone, you enable the phone for LLDP. It will get the right VLAN and also priority for .1p and the SCP value. So then phone will send the data, the voice traffic with the right quality of service requirements, and then you can use quality of service settings to keep that on the FortiSwitch and the FortiGate. Yeah.
If you do that, can you also authenticate them individually with one.x? I mean the phone and the client behind?
Yes, that's also possible. You can do .1x for in the same port. You can do MAC-based .1x, not port-based. So then you can have multiple clients authenticating on the same port. Yeah.
Rafael, did you want to say something more about the port 11 issue that you had, or was it?
About what? Sorry.
Previously, you said that we should remind you of the port 11 issue that.
Ah, yes. Thank you. Yeah. Just please hold it on a bit more. But I will get to that. So just to show you here the device visibility, we already checked. Then we go to the .1x. So yeah, let me explain the issue with the connection. So I configured yesterday a trunk port on the switch. That is also a lab for later, but that is only on the CLI. So on the switch, on the GUI, I thought the port was available, but it's not. So that's the support that is also going to be FortiOS 5.6 GUI support for link aggregation configuration. So today, if you want to deploy a link aggregation to the access, you have to do it on the CLI only. And that's the confusion I got there. So GUI will not have that yet. So I thought the port was free, but it's not. Okay?
In the GUI, do I have like another port, which is LAC 1, which I can add the VLANs or something?
Yeah, that will be FortiOS 5.6. Then you'll see there the trunk port.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like,
I think I have a screenshot for the roadmap items. Then I think we have there also the showing the trunk. It's already implemented. If you get an interim build to test, if you are interested, I can arrange that. The people, SC Fortinet team here can get an interim build for testing. Or the beta, the latest beta is coming, I think, next week. So you can also check. Okay, .1x. So now I'm going to change my port to a port that is enabled for .1x. So let's check here where it is. I'm using a VLAN called .1x.
Okay, just a remark, if you watch out on the FortiSwitch ports, on the most top entry, there is the lag already shown. If you do the filter, if you just switch off your filter, you'll see there you have the lag 1, with space 56.
And the ports that are used don't have native VLAN set. That's another identifier. Don't use those for anything else.
Yes, yes, but when thank you for the remark. The thing that I said is not supported is that the port here has to be grayed out. So, but yes, thank you for pointing that out. Yes, it's very good to see that it's already there. Yeah, I thought honestly I didn't know it was there. So, yeah, it can happen, right? Okay. .1x, yeah. So let's choose a port that's not in the aggregation. So or we can maybe just change this one. So let's assign this one to the .1x VLAN. So I have to enable .1x in my computer. Network settings, properties, authentication. Okay, it's already here. .1x. That's the user I created. So let's see if I have connection. I have now IP 25. So let's try to manage the FortiGate. 25.1. Yes, it's working. So here we have I should have an IP now in the .1x VLAN, yeah, the first one. That's was obtained the most recent one, right? Yeah, then on the FortiGate side, it's very simple. So you probably know that because it's already similar to what we already have. So you set the security mode to .1x in the interface. So .1x, and then you select the user group. Okay? Right. So let's go to the user groups. Here is the user group, and it contains the user. So if I had FortiAuthenticator, then I would have to set here radius server, and then the user group to refer to FortiAuthenticator. Okay, so from the switch to FortiGate it's the same. .1x will work the same from the switch to FortiGate. And then FortiGate is the authenticator in the diagram. So for authenticator or the authentication server as well. So if you have the FortiAuthenticator, then the FortiAuthenticator is the authentication server. So if you have, for example, clients that you want to authenticate with certificates like the TTLS or TLS, right, for authentication methods, then you need to do that with FortiAuthenticator. So you deploy the client on the authenticator side, FortiAuthenticator side, with the TLS, and then from the FortiGate to FortiSwitch, it will remain similar config. Just you change the how FortiGate talks to FortiAuthenticator. Okay. Yeah, that's. I was going to say something else. Yes, about the interface. Every time I showed you the VLANs, they were here, right? FortiSwitch VLANs. But it's also an interface. So if you go to interfaces, you see them here under the FortiLink. Okay? So you can also create them from here. So create interface. It's like another interface in the FortiGate. So it's really, from the FortiGate point of view, you are just creating another interface. So you can say VLAN 200. Then set the physical port to the FortiLink. That's the interface name that I'm using. So VLAN ID 200. You can change the color just for easy identification, right? And then do the same deployment that I showed you before. There is no, it's the same page. Just you reach it from another menu. So just to show you that it's really another interface here, like you do with the SSID. So SSID, you can also deploy it from this menu. Okay, yeah, that's we talked about. syslog. So syslog, we just have to go to FortiGate. Now I have to change the IP address here. So config switch controller, switch log, and then here it's not enabled, right? So set status enable, and so this is a default logging. When we do that, it will push command to the FortiSwitch, every FortiSwitch, and then it will each switch will forward the syslog to the FortiGate. Okay. So let's do a test here. I'm going to create to take a VLAN and assign to one of the switch ports. So let's say we take this switch, and I'm going to assign the VLAN rows. Okay, so let's now check the logs. You can see it here that this is the switch I made the change, right? And what was changed. If you double click in the message, it even will tell you how it changed. So native VLAN 1 to 90, switch interface port 15. So it's very detailed logging. And this also exported to any syslog server that you have. So it's another syslog message that you can monitor. Okay?
Is it possible to make a custom command on the switch and to change the log level on the switches? That I say,
yeah, you can do that, or you can do from the FortiGate. Then you configure here. Get, so you set severity, and then it will allow you to change from the FortiGate to all of them.
okay.
Or if you want to do
It's custom.
specific,
Yeah.
then you have to set custom command.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So this lab was quick. So let's move on to integrating wireless. So now we check how we would deploy wireless on top of this infrastructure, right? So let's look a bit in the slides. This the context of the lab, and we have now two APs in the diagram, but we will just choose the ports here and deploy the SSIDs. So what's the context? The APs are powered by the FortiSwitch with PoE. Then APs are controlled by the FortiGate, like we know very well from the wireless integrated solution. So then if the AP is connected to the switch, we need to find a way for it to talk to the FortiGate. So we create a VLAN that will be used by the APs to be controlled by the FortiGate. Okay. Then we will authorize them and so on, deploy the SSIDs. But eventually, what we want to achieve is that we have two types of deployments, right? If we have couple-up tunnel, so traffic is going to arrive from the client. The AP will tunnel the traffic all the way to the FortiGate. That's the tunneled mode, right? So it will use the VLAN that we created for the FortiAP management. But we can also deploy the, maybe it's on the way, sorry. We can also deploy local bridge, right, on the AP. So let's say you want to have more capacity in your deployment, then you say, okay, I'm only going to use local bridge. So you do local bridge to the switch, so then you can choose a VLAN for the SSID. So let's say VLAN ID 300. Then you need to also have that VLAN in the FortiSwitch port. So it's really very simple. Just choose the VLAN ID you are using and assign to the switch port. But if it's local bridge, right, the clients still need to get IP address and all that. So that VLAN that you configure with the same VLAN ID, you can also add the IP address, the DHCP server, and whatever else you want to do for that interface. So device detection, if you want to have management of FortiGate, so this for us to test. Okay, so let's do the test. We have the VLAN we are using is the space 56, right? Because we need couple-up. That's the only one that's with couple-up enabled. Couple-up to manage the APs. So let's see where we have space 56. We have in the log 1, so that's not what we are going to use now. We are going to use other ports. So we select from the first switch that port 17. Yeah, let's do like this. Look, port 17 from all the switches. So we select the last two here. So these two we assign to the VLAN space 56. Okay. So this is going to be the 564 and the switch 564 and the first switch that I already gave a name, right? So we plug one here on the top. And the 564 is the last one, if I'm not wrong. Both go to port 17. No, I cannot use port 17. Let's do port 7. There is no PoE. Yeah. So port 7, we remove the allowed VLAN for now. And then we select both and we assign space 56. Okay. So there is a red LED here, no, amber, that will tell you that PoE is working. So we can check now, we should be refreshing here and it should show us that we have PoE. So if we check the switch itself here in with all the units, you can see the port. It's blue and it will tell you the power. So immediately you can see that it's taking PoE. Also on the other one it just showed up, also using the power that's using. So for more detail we can check also on the list here. So port 7. So if we again do a filter, we have port 7, both of them are powered. So we can check the monitor now to see if they are connecting with the FortiGate. So we should have 2 APs, right? 1 and 2. And then we can check the the Wi-Fi managed APs. They are not managed yet. So let's give it a couple of minutes. While they are coming up, I'm going to show you that we have 2 SSIDs. We have one that's tunneled with captive portal. So this is a simple wireless deployment. So there is nothing different here, just to show you. So a guest SSID with disclaimer, captive portal. Then the other is an office SSID that is local bridge. And here is the thing that we need to remember is the VLAN ID of that local bridge. So this VLAN ID has to match the VLAN ID we assign to the FortiSwitch port. And the profiles, so we created a simple profile with the channels that are automatically assigned. So auto TX power control and the radio resource provision. So there is nothing fancy there, just simple wireless deployment. So now that they are managed now, so if you go to their phones, you should be able to see those 2 and then connect. So but for the local bridge, we still have to assign the VLAN, right? So we have VLAN 300 here. That is already, I configured it with VLAN ID 300 to match what we want to do. And then we just need to assign that to the right FortiSwitch port, so port 7. And then it will be tagged VLAN, right? Because that's how we set it in the SSID definition, okay? Good. Any questions? So I guess this would be a common deployment, no, for you with your wireless projects. So if you add the FortiSwitch that's controlled by FortiGate, it's quite simple for the deployment, and you have control of all the infrastructure. So all the APs and all the switches. So who got connected already? Did anyone try? Yeah, let's see here what we have. Guest. So we have 2 clients in the guest. Can you try to browse the internet to see if it's if you get connection? You should be able to reach internet. Can anyone try the Office, the Wi-Fi VLAN 300? So that will be the Office SSID. I can try with my phone also. Huh?
There's a PSK set.
Ah, yeah, Fortinet. Yeah.
Case sensitive?
No, just for lowercase. Yeah. If it doesn't work, I will reset it. Yeah. So we should get a client here, IPv6S. Is that you? Ah, okay. So yeah, it's quite simple, right? It's very good solution because you can have total control from the FortiGate. So you have your infrastructure, then you plug your APs, you know where they are, and you can assign the VLANs to match your requirements.
If you can show us the Fortinet Security Fabric view.
These are the wireless users, right? Yeah. So let's update it. Yeah, this one is showing directly connected. But in the 5.6, I have a screenshot here. 5.6, it's showing the APs. When you do this, when you go to this page, I'll show you that in the roadmap. Okay. Shall we have coffee? Thanks. Okay, let's carry on. I'm going to show you now some the functionality. As you see it here, it will be done in FortiGate 5.6 in the GUI. So I will use a bit more the CLI now. So what I did here, I disconnected the switch. If you look in the GUI now, I disconnected the bottom switch. So that's how you see it in the GUI when it's disconnected. So I'm just going to remove it now because it's not part of the topology anymore. It's a standalone switch. It's the bottom one. And I'm doing that because I want to show you the link aggregation. So going back to the port 11 story. So I configured link aggregation in the first switch, ports 9 and 11. Okay? So that's the lag 1 interface that we have, Victor pointed out to me that it's listed there. Thank you. So you see, but it's not up here. That's another thing. The GUI support is not there yet. Okay. Well, just to show you. So port 9 and 11. But so on the CLI, we'll check the configuration. So the command is here. Show switch controller manage switch, and then the serial number. We can see the port configuration, and then you see that here I have the lag 1 interface that is type trunk. Oops, no highlighting, right? Set mode LACP active, and the ports, the members port 9 and 11. Okay, so that's on the FortiGate. So I'm configuring a trunk in that switch, and then I go to the standalone switch, the other side. That's I'm going via the console. I can also check here the switch trunk, also port 9 and 11. So, oh, sorry for the highlighting. Then in the bottom here, we see port 9 and 11 also connected. So how do we check the status? We have simple command here. That's diagnose switch trunk list. It will show you all the trunks. And then it says trunk name, and you get all the information. So MAC address, which ports are up, so failure count, how many times you had link failure for each of the members, right? So it's very detailed information. That's from the standalone switch, but how do we do that on the FortiGate? Who knows? We can do the same command with the custom command, right? So I created a custom command to execute diagnose switch trunk list. So look, show switch controller, custom command trunk. So this command, this custom command is going to execute diagnose command. So we get the output also here. Exec switch controller, custom command. So we see the link aggregation. Also here I gave the same name, lag1. And you see also failure count and MAC address of each port. So it's the same information. So just quickly to illustrate the link aggregation. So now we clarify the port 11 issue. And we also have other features that are on the CLI. That's the spanning tree configuration. So let's say instead of a lag, but I have two independent ports going to the same switch, you can enable STP. Actually, STP is enabled by default. So you just have to plug the switches and they will run STP. And with the diagnose STP command that I showed you in the beginning, how to check the STP instances, you can also see, use that same command to check the STP. And the loop guard is also on the CLI. So if you look on the FortiGate side, you will go to the manage switch configuration, then you edit the switch, and then config ports, oops, and then edit a certain port, so let's say port 18, and then here you do a get. You see all the options you have to configure, and there you have the STP, STP state enabled, edge port is disabled. You can also have edge port. The HCP snooping is untrusted, so that's another CLI setting that is done on the FortiGate and pushed to the switches, right? Okay, so I think that's basically it from the features on the CLI. So two special cases here. So first is how do we have the same VLAN in the FortiGate and the FortiSwitch. So let's say that I have here port 15 of the second switch, and I want to make a VLAN with also the physical port of the FortiGate, right? So how do we do that? I connect a device to the FortiGate, and I connect a device to the switch port, and they are in the same VLAN. So you can do that with the software switch. So you configure simple software switch interface. So let's see if I have one already. I have a software switch interface. So this soft switch interface is now using physical member port 2 of the FortiGate. So we can come here and just add another the VLAN. So, but all the VLANs I have are being used. So I have to first deploy the VLAN. So I just do VLAN soft switch, and then VLAN ID 67. Okay. So I create the VLAN, and then I just go to my soft switch, and I add that VLAN to the soft switch. So now you have the same broadcast domain in the FortiGate and the switch port. All you have to do is to assign the VLAN to the port now, right? So you just go to the ports, and then you choose which port it is. So we set the third switch, port, what port was it? I don't know, 17. We can assign it. So we assign here the VLAN soft switch. Yeah. So with that, you can create, let's say you also have an SSID, and you want everything to be in the same broadcast domain. You can also add the SSID to the soft switch. So if some deployments you just want simple everything in the same VLAN, so you can also do with wireless and wired and FortiSwitch or FortiGate port. It's able to do. Okay, next is the questions? Any questions? No? Yes? No. Next one is the upgrade. So I showed you already the option. We go to Manage FortiSwitch. So just double click in the switch, and then you have upgrade option, and then you choose the file here. It will upload to FortiGate, then push to the switch, and then it will switch will just restart after with the new release and join the topology again. So it's very simple. Okay, so I think that's was it for the demo. Do you have any questions, or would like to see something that was too fast or I didn't explain? No? Maybe later if you remember. So let's go now, and I'm going to go to